think I had to have it done within 6 to 9 weeks, and I had to have it done within 4 to 6 weeks. And the NHS queue is about 6 to 9. So they said if you've got private insurance, it just will increase the speed. I mean, it'll be the same people, but it'll increase the speed. So I did that. My brother was unbelievable because he's married to a doctor. So my youngest brother came. He was near me, and he came, and he was there for the next few days. He was unbelievable. My whole family were unbelievable, and friends, obviously. And they got me through the what was going to become the hardest 3-4 months of my life, because it hadn't even started then. At that point, I was in and out of the hospital. They had the CT scan. Thankfully, nothing had spread. So that was good news. But then I got sepsis. And I got a temperature about 106. I was in hospital back with sepsis. I got an infection. The nephrostomy kept coming in and out. That had to stay like that until the operation. We had to decide whether to do chemo before or after the operation. For sort of belts and braces, we decided to do the operation first. My wife and we decided to do the operation first. I was moved to Guy's Hospital, and they were unbelievable there, just like they had been at the Prue. That was the second hospital. I had the operation. It was a 6.5-hour operation. They removed my bladder, my prostate, and 19 lymph nodes. They then went off for biopsies and stuff. Fortunately, none of those sites showed any sign of cancer, so everything was taken out. So that was the great news. And they said, yeah, you'll be fine. Rest up here. You'll go home on Monday. Unfortunately, I couldn't eat, and I thought something's not quite right, and things weren't digesting, and they gave me sort of a small diet to get going again. And because remember, my body parts had changed round, I didn't know what was happening here. So I've got a stoma bag, Sean. It's like a bag. I'll show you, but it's for urine, and obviously I had to learn how that was to work. I mean, I'm my fingers. I've not got great motor neuron skills. My fingers are very I find it quite difficult to sort of do things like that, like really pernickety things. I could never sew or anything. But I had to learn how to put a bag on. So I had to put a bag on and learn that immediately. Then I had to sort of, do you want that for life, or do you want to have an artificial bladder? There's a lot of stuff going on. I said, look, let's just one thing at a time. And I had lots of when I came out of surgery, I had lots of holes and tubes and things. And I was on high drugs. And it was just all very complicated. A lot of blood tests. And then I couldn't eat. And I said, something's wrong. And they went, no, you'll be fine. It will come back. And I said, no, something's wrong. And on the Monday morning, I remember saying, can I have another CT scan? And they took me for another CT scan, and they found that I had a twisted bowel. So I had an ileus. No, not a twisted bowel. I had an ileus, which meant it was blocked. So I couldn't digest anything. So then I had tubes up my nose and back, and I couldn't eat anything for a few days. I was fed through drips, and then back to a sort of liquid diet and all that sort of stuff. And that was at the point where I was at real rock bottom. I was very, very thin. I could hardly walk I could get out of my bed. I was maybe getting out of my bed to do physio, and I could hardly even move because I had no energy. And I sort of could just about get to the bathroom, and they were washing me in bed. It was horrendous. And I got to the sort of bathroom, I looked in the mirror, and all I saw was like a skeleton version of me. And I thought, I'm dead. I thought, I can't do this anymore. It was the pain around my stomach area was horrendous. And that then went on for 3 weeks in that hospital. I came out over the Easter period of 2023. It was absolutely horrendous. I was at home. I was screaming in pain. I couldn't move. I had this awful pain. They couldn't find the meds to stop it. I then got a twisted bowel. I had to go. I went back into Guy's again. I was rushed back in. I had sepsis again. I came out for another period of time. I then got a twisted bowel. I was blue lighted to Charing Cross. So that was my third hospital. I was in Charing Cross for a number of days. And that's when I had again a twisted bowel. So they had to work on how to sort of sort that out. And then they transferred me to the Cleveland Clinic, I was there for a month. And that was the place where I was in amazing hospital, but I was in agony there because they had to take it slowly. There was a lot of buildup of fluid in my legs. I had really sort of thick legs, and I had like a no stomach. It was just bizarre. And then I had this stoma I was trying to maintain. And the stoma bags leak, right? They don't always work, right? They leak if they get like too much in it. It bursts, it leaks, and then you've got to deal with that. But I sort of found people that had gone through this. Tracy Emin, the artist, is one. She had exactly the same thing as me, exactly the same sort of cancer. And she is my sort of heroine because she's very open about her cancer and what she looks like. I then thought, you know what, I'm going to try and become an ambassador for Fight Bladder Cancer. So that was like an aim for me, which I do now. And she is so open about it, and she talks about how difficult it is. And sometimes she's shopping and her bag bursts, whatever. So it's a dream of mine to meet her and to see her, because she's been a massive inspiration to me about how open she is. And it's really, really shit at times. It's awful. And at night you have, a long tube, but it keeps you alive. And I think that's what I'm just really, really grateful. The hospital came to an end eventually. My GP, actually, I had amazing consultants. Raj Nair, who did my bladder, was unbelievable. Jamie Murphy was phenomenal. He was my bowel guy. I sort of had everybody. Kostis Amfridagis, my oncologist, was unbelievable, because I had to, after 3 months, I had to get to a point where I had to get chemo before a certain point. Otherwise, it wouldn't be effective. It would lose its effects. And then I had chemo for 3 months. It's a point where I couldn't walk at home. I had to sit down in a shower for 2 months. Look, I don't want the violins out here, Sean, because people go through a lot worse than I did, right? But I'm just telling you what happened. And I was really, really back to learning how to walk. And my daughters would take me for walks around the block. My son would be like holding me up. I reconnected with my family. It was amazing times, even though I was in real pain. My GP, who is just unbelievable, Kajal Shah. She's unbelievable, Doc Shah at the Crown Street Surgery in Acton. She found out what it was. She said, I think it's nerve pain, and I think that maybe they haven't done this, that. Anyway, she gave me some stuff. Oh my God. Since that time, there's been no pain. So I go and see her whenever I want, really, but I go and see her for almost like a therapy as well as a physical sort of examination to see how I'm doing with everything. But it's it's hard, and it took me a long time to recover. They say it takes a year, I think, and I thought, it just take me a few weeks. But there's a lot of after stuff, and you've got to sort of ease yourself back. It's not easy. And I went back into the boxing world, and I thought, do I do that? But I sort of got almost like invited back in, come to that press conference, whatever, and I did. And I went to a Misfits fight, as I said to you, with my daughter. I went to the Katie Taylor fight with Chantel Cameron, and I was really probably 60-70% healthy. And but that was a big move for me to be back around ringside. And I guess probably the beginning of 2024 was when I started to feel myself again. I'll never be 100%, but and I get aches and pains, and it's tough in the morning. Those first couple of minutes of getting up, I feel it in my legs. But Jamie Moore and I talk about it. Jamie was shot. He comes back. He trains fighters, but every morning his legs are not great. So I think when people have been through some sort of adversity, they really connect, and you really understand. Spencer Oliver, what he went through, and also like Darren Barker losing his brother. I think people have dealt with sort of either grief or like you have with your mom. It's you understand, and people that haven't maybe don't as much. Barry McGuigan, going through what he had with his daughter and everything. He's constantly on the phone with me. How are you doing? How's the health? And you get that sort of connection and the understanding, and it's horrible, but oh my God, I'm so happy to be alive. And I'm so grateful to the doctors and to the nurses and to everyone in the hospitals and that have helped me since in my recovery, mentally and physically, psychologists, therapists and doctors, everyone, they're all a doctor. And I just think I've got a very different perspective on life now. I'm healthy, and I have my checkups. And as you say, if you get the news, unfortunately, like your mum has, you've sort of got to accept. You've got to sort of say, okay, you can fight, and you'll always fight. A human being fights. I didn't think I'd make it. I feel in many ways I've had 9 lives, right? And there was times where I didn't think I'd make it. There's times where I thought I shouldn't be here, and I got through. I got another opportunity. And if that opportunity lasts today, or if it lasts another 30, 40 years, great. You've got to make every day count. I really think that. I used to say carpe diem, which is seize the day. And I think maybe I seized it too much. So maybe it's un tempum dies, which I have on my my WhatsApp. You've probably seen it on my phone. And it's one day at a time. It's just for today. Enjoy every day. Take every day. Get something out of every day. Today we're doing this. Tomorrow will come, and then we'll do